wait was over. 6 long years Celtic had been without a trophy, but last season they had their hands on the Tennant Scottish Cup. To keep it, they've got to do what they've failed to do in 5 meetings so far this season: beat Rangers. The top 2 teams come face-to-face at Hampden Park this afternoon. Our live football is the Tennant's Scottish Cup semi-final between Celtic and Rangers. They've met on 5 previous occasions this season, and Celtic still haven't beaten Rangers. Can they this afternoon? It's one of the oldest derby games in the world. It's one of the biggest. Losing, it goes without saying, hurts. Really hurts, especially in the semi-finals. Live football from Scotland this afternoon. It's Celtic, the holders, against Rangers, who are chasing the double once again this season. Losing would be awful for Celtic. They're not out of the title chase, but without question, the Cup represents their best chance of winning silverware again this season. Later in the programme, all of yesterday's league goals from England. Right now, let's concentrate on our main feast. That comes from Hampden Park. We're in the company of Kevin Drinkle and Charlie Nicholas. Kevin, an ex-Ranger, whose Stirling Albion are already promoted this season, so well done, Kevin. Congratulations. And Charlie, here we go again.
Yep.
Can Celtic win this time?
Well, I think the beauty of the last 5 games, although Celtic haven't won, Richard, is the fact that Celtic have played well in all the games and came away with nothing. But I think there's a real possibility Celtic can do something today. As you say, I think there's slightly more pressure on Celtic to win today, with the possibility that the league is maybe just slipping away. And from Rangers' point of view, Kevin, having played 5, they're unbeaten in 5 against Celtic. Do they come into this thinking, well, we can make it 6, and that little seed of overconfidence might be a problem for them?
I don't think they'll be overconfident. Confidence is something you need to succeed. They've got that in abundance. As you said, they've been undefeated against Celtic throughout the season, and I'm sure they're looking forward to today's game. I am myself, I'm sure there'll be lots of good football. Goals, I think that's the thing we'll be looking for today. Both teams trying to get forward and get themselves in a final.
I think it goes without saying we're all looking forward to this afternoon's game. Celtic against Rangers for the right to play Hearts, who made it through to their first final in 10 years yesterday. Rob McLean commentates.
There's Poynton's corner. There's Dave McPherson's header! Cleared by Michael Watt! And it's there! John Robertson has scored! John Robertson doing what he's best at. When the scraps are around, he'll happily take them. Dave McPherson caused the problems from the corner kick with the downward header. Aberdeen couldn't get it clear. Now, what can Aberdeen do with this free kick? In from Glass, up goes Rusey, up goes Duncan Shearer, and Shearer scored! Shearer rescues Aberdeen! Rusey halfway towards the halfway line. Stuart McKimmie didn't get there. John Robertson will keep this in. Neil Poynton's inside. Johnston's in the middle. There is Johnston's header! Alan Johnston has scored for Hearts. And this match takes another amazing twist.
Hearts booking a return trip to Hampden against Aberdeen yesterday, who came into that, Kevin, on the back of a 5-0 hiding from Celtic, which couldn't have put them in the best of spirits, could it?
No, I think it was 5 going on more, and obviously we talked about confidence earlier on. They must have been lacking that yesterday, and I think Hearts, with 1 or 2 youngsters in the team now, full of confidence and wanting to gain them experiences.
Was that a surprise, Charlie?
No, not for me, Richard. I was at the Celtic-Aberdeen game and they took a severe hammering. I mean, they were all over the place at times, Aberdeen, defensively, and going forward, they didn't really look as if they had much punch. I mean, they made two good substitutions yesterday, Hearts. Big Dave McPherson, who won the header there, and little Robbo, who's renowned for 2-yard, 3-yard finishing. But I think Aberdeen are lacking a lot of confidence, which probably disappoints a lot of people, because they won the Coca-Cola Cup early in the season. You put them onto a good conference and probably have a real good season. But since that performance, that victory, they really haven't done very much at all. And Kevin's team played them in the Scottish Cup earlier, and I think that was quite a close game too. Yeah,
I mean, given problems during the day, they had the luxury of scoring an early goal, which helped them settle down into that one. But no, they never ran away with it. We gave them some problems, but I think, as Charlie said earlier on in the season, great expectations. But I think that result last week against Celtic really did take something out of them. And, you know, the highlights we've seen, they didn't look as if they could get forward and score goals. All the goals coming late in the game.
And the disappointment yesterday softened, of course, as Charlie said, by the fact they are in Europe. They won the Coca-Cola Cup earlier in the season. Who's going to win the Tennent's Scottish Cup? Rangers 11-8 favourites, Celtic 13-8, Hearts the outsiders, whichever way it goes this afternoon, at 9-4. Celtic, of course, are the current cup holders, and this is how they've been defending it. They started against non-league Whitehill Welfare. Van Hooijdonk got the first. The second was a long time coming, but Simon Donnelly eventually made it two. Van Hooijdonk wrapped things up with his second and Celtic's third. Then it was Raith Rovers who beat them in the 1994 Coca-Cola Cup final. Andreas Thom gave Celtic the lead with his first Scottish Cup goal. Donnelly got the second, which secured a quarter-final tie against Dundee United. They stunned the Parkhead faithful after half an hour.
He scored the second time. Owen Coyle, United are in front.
And that's the way it stayed until the 88th minute. And they weren't finished yet.
Here's Andreas Thom. He's done it! 90 minutes are up. Andreas Thom has won the match for Celtic.
Celtic just, and if they want to hang on to the trophy that they won last season, they'll have to beat Rangers for the first time in this campaign. They've won it on no less than 30 occasions, the most successful team in Scotland. 47 times they've been in the final. The semis, no less than 60. And that semi-final record, played 76, won 47 of them, lost 12, 17 draws. Kevin Drinkle and Charlie Nicholas are our guests here this afternoon. Right on cue, Charlie. I thought that was for you for a moment, but there's obviously sight of something going on behind us. So Celtic's cup record, second to none.
Yeah.
They ended that long barren spell last season. Although the league hasn't gone, do you agree this is the best chance of silverware again?
Yeah, I do. I think it's asking a lot for Celtic to catch up and Rangers in the title race now. I think this is the real chance. They won it last year, and it was tremendous because it was 6 barren years. It was really frustrating and nervous times last season. And they won it, and it took the tension out, and I think it's shown in their performances this season. They deserve an enormous amount of credit for the performances they've put in, but I think the cup now is their main idea of getting success.
And here's the man that steered, or in a moment or so we'll be able to get a word with Tommy Burns. But before that, let's have a look at how Celtic have warmed up for this, and it was something of a warm-up, I think you were saying, Kevin. The 5-0 defeat of Aberdeen, 5 going on more, you said. So plainly they were up for this. This was Monday night in the league. And they tore them apart, didn't they?
Yeah, I think right from the whistle, they got the early goal, and as you see there, great header, and that just started her out. I think from there on in, Aberdeen are looking at each other, not knowing what shape they wanted to play, how they were going to get forward or how they were going to defend, and you know, I think Celtic enjoyed the evening.
And we started the season, Charlie, talking about Van Hooijdonk suggesting, like a lot of other people in Scotland, that he didn't score when it mattered in big games. Yeah. We're not saying that anymore, are we?
No, what he's done, he took a lot of stick just before the turn of the year. And since he got that criticism, he's really responded tremendously well. I don't think he's always been impressive with people wanting more from him because he's 6'5". But he's been scoring just about every week or second week. So his contribution's been enormous to Celtic since the turn of the year. You know, he's scored over 20 goals now, and he's one of the first to do that for a long time.
And here we are, Jorge Cadet, who can't play today. He was registered in time for the league match, came on and ultimately scored, but doesn't get in today, which I think a lot of people south of the border are quite confused about the registration rules in Scotland.
Yeah, it's been confusing. This guy's waited 5 weeks to get involved in all the nonsense that goes behind the scenes, you know. The Portuguese FA holding on, taking their time, enjoying a few lunches, and it took forever to get this guy going. But as soon as he came on that night, Monday night, I was there. This is a class finish. He's real quality in the finishing stakes. And this is 3 minutes he's on, and he finishes like that. I mean, it's a heck of a start.
That is a confident finish, isn't it? OK, he's ready to talk to us. Let's hear from Tommy Burns, who's with Davy Provan. Davy.
Tommy, when we spoke a few days ago, you had 4 major injury doubts, all of them in the midfield area. Are you quite happy with the shape you're in?
Yeah, we're quite happy, Davy. We always knew we weren't going to get the 4 of them. So we're quite happy we've got McLaughlin and Veghorst.
Are you happy with the look of this side? Because you told me you weren't happy with the midfield balance against Rangers 3 weeks ago.
Well, that was basically down to myself, Davy, for changing it. We tried something that day. I wouldn't say it failed for us, but it didn't work as positively as what we'd hoped. But today I think it's got a much better balance about it.
Both Simon Donnelly and Gordon Marshall have been saying this week that if Celtic don't win here today, all the progress and all the effort will be a complete waste. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't think it's a complete waste, Davy. I think we've got to look at the whole thing realistically and see how far that we've came, the consistency we've managed to reach this year, the quality of performance we've put in this year. And this is the type of game that we've waited a long time to play in, and it's certainly something that we want to go and enjoy and just take one game at a time.
Remarkably, it's the 6th Old Firm meeting of the season. What has it done for the blood pressure of you and Walter Smith?
Helped to put it up a wee bit, I think. But no, I think, as I say, David, at the start of the season, if we'd known we were going to make the progress we've made and play as well as we had done, then we'd have been well pleased. But we know that this club is judged on results and trophies, and that's the only time we'll be happy is when we're back winning trophies on a regular basis.
Thanks, Tommy. Good luck.
Thanks very much, David.
Hampden Park for us this afternoon. Live, it's Celtic against Rangers. Part 6 this season for a place in the Tennent's Scottish Cup final against Hearts, who made sure of their place by beating Aberdeen yesterday. And later in the programme, all of yesterday's action from the Carling Premiership. But our main game comes from Hampden Park. It's Celtic against Rangers. Sorry about that. Derby in many ways. Celtic against Rangers for a place in the Tennent's Scottish Cup final against Hearts. They beat Aberdeen yesterday by 2-1. Celtic haven't beaten Rangers in 5 attempts this season. Can they make it at the 6th? Let's get the team news. Davy Provan is waiting for us. Davy.
Thanks, Richard. Well, Hearts already through to the Cup final after that late and dramatic winner against Aberdeen here at the National Stadium yesterday. And it's now up to the big 2 to decide who's going to join them in the final on May the 18th. The 6th Old Firm match of the season, and one which I think will make or break Celtic's season. And it's to Tommy Burns' side, we turn first there in the home dressing room this afternoon. Now, he did have injury doubts over Phil O'Donnell and John Collins, so they're not available, and that means Simon Donnelly and Brian McLaughlin playing in the 2 wide positions in midfield. Peter Grant and Paul McStay in between them. The usual back 4 of Tommy Boyd, John Hughes, Tosh McKinley playing left back, Tommy Boyd in beside John Hughes, and up front, Pierre Van Hooijdonk and Andreas Thom. As far as Rangers are concerned, well, Walter Smith did a couple of difficult decisions as well. He must have been tempted to put Richard Gough in. He's decided it's not worth the risk, still going for the championship, of course. Trevor Stephen does find a place on the bench, and that is the Rangers side. Andy Gorham back in, David Robertson back in. John Brown plays beside Petric and McLaren at the back. Paul Gascoigne and Stuart McCall in the central midfield area. And up front, Ali McCoist has Brian Laudrup and Gordon Durie for company. Back to you, Richard.
Well, Davey, I'm sure there's somebody watching what he's doing trackside this afternoon and making absolutely certain it's noisy whenever he's trying to talk to us. Let's check out Rangers' Cup form now. They haven't had too many problems in getting to this stage. They opened against Highland League Keith and put 10 past them. Ian Ferguson opened the scoring. Alex Cleland, of all people, got a hat-trick. His third made it 5-0. Ferguson got his third and Rangers 8th just after half-time. Mikhailichenko made it 10 before Keith got a late consolation. We saw their next tie with Clyde live, and Clyde stunned them just after half-time.
Great header goal for Clyde! Ian Angus! The chance is on this time, it's Charlie Miller!
Miller got the second as well, and after that, Rangers powered away.
This could tie it up for Rangers. Van Bossen, he was onside, it counts. Here's Gascoigne. That's number 4.
An unlucky Brian Thompson handed Rangers in the red this time, the lead in the quarter-final. After that, it was all Paul Gascoigne. And a win over Celtic today takes Walter Smith and Rangers a step closer to the double. Only Celtic have won the Cup on more occasions, 26 times Rangers, 43 finals. At this stage, on no less than 55 occasions. Won 41, lost 11, drawn 18. And here is the Rangers boss, Walter Smith, with Davy Provan.
Walter, you had a big decision to make today over the fitness of Richard Gough. Are you going to take a chance with him?
No, not today. It was just a little bit too early for him. He's trained the last couple of days, and I just feel that, you know, in view of the fact that we have got some big league matches coming up, that if we take a chance with him and it goes wrong, we'll lose him for these games, so he'll miss out today.
Both Andy Gorham and David Robertson back in the Rangers side this afternoon. How reassuring is that for you?
Well, Andy Gorham missed the last couple of matches, and I think he's shown over the period that he's the best goalkeeper in Scotland. So it's good for us to have him back. David Robertson gives us better balance. We had no other left-sided players in the last couple of games that he's been out. So it brings him back, gives us a better balance to our side.
Is the Scottish Cup still an important tournament to Rangers? Because you seem to have become preoccupied with the League Championship and the Champions League over recent seasons.
No, I think it's still a very important tournament. You always want to do well in all your domestic competitions. We haven't done so well in the Cup games in the last couple of years and managed to win the League Championship. So it would be nice to finish the season with a double. So we'll have to try hard today and make sure we get our way into the final first and foremost.
It's 10 years this month since you took the job at Ibrox beside Graham Souness. Do the big games like this still grab you the same way?
Yeah, the churning's still there. Still get us nervous. But I suppose that's what it's all about. You always look forward to these occasions.
2 years since Rangers won a cup. Is it about time you changed all that?
Yes, it is about time we changed that. I was just saying there, it's been a disappointing factor the last couple of campaigns. We haven't got anywhere near the final, so an opportunity today to maybe make amends for that.
Thanks, Walter. All the best.
Thanks, David.
2 years since they won the Cup. I know there's a few teams would settle for that, Kevin. How would you assess the job that Walter Smith has done?
Well, I think obviously his record speaks for itself. 7 championships, going for an 8th. Here again in another semi-final. I think his biggest problem this year has obviously been the shape of his team. People want him to progress, want him to bring in better quality players. Right from the start, Stephen Wright went down injured, Robertson's been injured. So he's never played the shape of a team that he wants to play, and I think he's took unfair criticism at times. You know, when he ever gets that all back together and the team, then obviously he can only move forward.
They are still top, 5 points clear in the league. They are in the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup. It's not a bad record at this stage even,
It's one of those where people can walk around criticising maybe the style of play at times. They've scored over 100 goals. If I'm watching the style of play, I want to see goals, and obviously they've given us that.
Well, we get a closer look today at 2 players who came to Scotland in the summer without a clue about an old firm derby. Andreas Thom and Paul Gascoigne, who know plenty about them now.
My eyes are open, my love is strong, I am here to to stay, and it will always be that way. We're in this together. We're in this together.
Tom and Paul Gascoigne, both club record signings. Tom has played 2 games more this season, scored 5 goals less. Look at that. Well, just the once. Gascoigne on no less than 16 occasions, and of course he's been sent off in Scotland once. Kevin Drinkle and Charlie Nicholas are with us this afternoon. Kevin, you talked about Walter Smith having problems with the shape of his team. What's he tried to do? What has he done with Paul Gascoigne in the main?
Well, I think obviously he's got a problem with people expect Paul to win it on his own. You know, if he goes out there and he's got a shirt on, then he can do it. I think it'll be interesting today. We've got Jory, and if he plays up front with McCoist, that'll give Gascoigne more options. He's a type of player that likes to get his head up, as we see here. He wants to play off somebody, he wants to pass it, go and get it back. And here he's going to get into the box. So, you know, be, I think, an advantage for him to have somebody up with McCoist, so he can play these little 1-2s off.
We were watching him go through his pre-match routine, which consisted of about a 20-minute telephone call on the mobile. I suppose he's a law unto himself, isn't he? As long as he's doing this, no one's going to mind too much. Rangers,
I think we see here the flair that he's got and the things he can do, and there are certain situations where he can win games on his own. But you know, I mean, warming his tongue up, I think, was about the most he did in his warm-up. But he'll use that to good effect during the game, I think.
Whatever he's going through, he's thoughtful now, Charlie.
He's feeling the pressure there. You can see it, can't you? I mean, he's really feeling the pressure. He's a big-time player, Richard. This guy's played in big stages before. We keep thinking that Old Firm derby up here is one of the best in the world, which we think it is. Big time for this guy relishes this. The last 2 or 3 games, I think he's been outstanding, the Old Firm ties, and he'll relish this afternoon. This is all about Paul Gascoigne today.
Some felt he was lucky to stay on the last time these two teams met. Jackie McNamara, of course, didn't. He went off. Has he got something to make up for this afternoon?
No, I don't think so. I think it was unfortunate that day. It was just 2 bookings which he had to go. He's been a revelation since he came for such a young man. He's just fitted in there without a blip. He's very positive, gets forward, good tackle here. He's got good pace. But I think the most important thing is him and young Simon Donnelly, both only 22 and 21. Great understanding. Here you see it. Donnelly looks up, McNamara's in with a great finish. They have a tremendous relationship, the two of them, for 2 so young. And now Celtic used to always be very left-sided. Now these two are really making a big contribution down the right-hand side.
And he hasn't yet been on a losing Celtic side. Big boost for Rangers this afternoon. Andy Gorham is back, and some feel in the form of his life. Kevin, is that an opinion you would share?
Well, again, records speak for themselves. He's part of a team that have been successful. There's certain times in the game when your manager requires your goalie to do his bit, and whenever he's been called on, as we see there, you know, he's done that. I think the defence at Rangers, you know, get a big boost when he's in between them sticks.
He's certainly broken a few Celtic hearts this year, Charlie, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, I think he's played particularly well all season. Kept Rangers in it quite a lot, because I think with the absence of Richard Gough, they do miss a bit of stability at the back at times. But he makes saves every week for them, but especially against Celtic, this guy seems to bring them off all the time. Tommy Burns, I think, is sick to death of this guy. So fed up with him.
And here's the man that won the Scottish Cup for Celtic last season, Pierre Van Hooijdonk, just a single goal then. He is the top scorer in the Premier League in Scotland this time around. And he's been finding his way through to goal when he's played against Rangers, which will again hearten Celtic supporters.
Yeah, his record's good. He's really came. Andy Tom's helped him a lot. I mean, he's not scored many league goals, Tom. And he's making a contribution for Van Hooijdonk there, but he's a guy with a lot of confidence. He's not the typical 6'5" guy who just stands in the box all day. Celtic are a team who like to move Andy Tom and Pierre Van Hooijdonk about, and they do this well. And he's a guy high in confidence. He looks a threat every time now.
What's he like when he jumps? Andy always makes the point about Duncan Ferguson being tall but can jump. What's he like in the air?
He isn't bad. I mean, I think when he first came, he always says he didn't really want to get in the box and win headers, he wanted it in the ground. But I think he scored the cup final with a header, and I think he's done that a bit more and more. He's got a bit of the Wizard of Oz boots about him today, right enough, but he's starting to believe in himself in there a bit more, and he's more of a threat. I mean, McKinley and McNamara get great crosses, and it's great service for guys like him.
We're at Hampden Park this afternoon. Our live football is the Scottish Cup semi-final between Celtic and Rangers for the right to play Hearts in the final. The 6th time these two have met this season. Celtic haven't won yet. Is this their day? Against Rangers, again, live on Sky Sports. For a place in the Scottish Cup final. And the bookies think Rangers are going there, but only just 6-4 Rangers, 7-4 Celtic, 15-8 the draw. And for the first goal, McCoist, whose only Scottish Cup goal against Celtic was the winner here 4 years ago in a semi-final on a horrible night. He wouldn't mind repeating it today. 9-2 McCoist, 5-1 Van Hooijdonk, Gascoigne at 7-1 with Dury, 8-1 Andreas Tom. And further out, this is the Gamblers page. We've got Kevin Drinkle and Charlie Nicholas with us this afternoon. Quick word, Kevin, who's winning this afternoon, if there is to be a winner?
Well, I think it will be decided today.
You do?
Lots of goals, lots of shots on target. I'm looking for a 5-4 win for the Rangers.
We'll take that. Well, we'll take the 5-4 either way. Charlie?
I think Celtic can do it today, Richard. I think it's essential they get the first goal. Rangers get the first one. It's hard to break them down, but I think Celtic can do it today.
OK, let's join our match commentators as the roof comes off Hampden, literally. Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Hello, Richard. Hello again, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this Easter Sunday. And I think whatever happens in the game, Andy, that the feeling in Scotland is that Celtic have closed the gap, that there's less between the two clubs now than there has been for some years.
I think that's right, and I think that can only be good for Scottish football. It was interesting to hear Tommy Burns talking. He's quite right. Even if they lose today, Martin, I think it's been a wonderful season for him and his team, and they'll take a lot of confidence from it and take that into next year. But the gap's closed. That's good for Scottish football, and games like this mean an awful lot. I think in the last 5, 6, 7 years, you could probably say 9 times out of 10 Rangers would win this, and you'd be right. But I think it's far, far tougher to call now, and that's a credit to what Tommy's achieved in his short spell there.
Well, the capacity today, just under 38,000. The Celtic side, 5-0 on Monday when Celtic made April Fools of Aberdeen, but Tommy Burns has made one change. Today it's Brian McLaughlin and not Stuart Gray who fills the midfield gap created by an injury to John Collins. Phil O'Donnell also still amongst the Celtic casualties. Yesterday, John Hughes, the hero of the last Old Firm clash from Celtic's point of view with that late equaliser, he badly damaged a thumb in training, but with a strong strapping, he's bursting to play.
It's a pretty familiar looking formation that we see from Celtic, and areas to look for. I think that this central midfield area will be tough, it'll be uncompromising, it'll be a real battle and a real area to watch. But I think if Celtic are going to win this game, then they're going to win it from these sort of areas, and that's wide. When we see the Rangers team, you see that, particularly on the left side, with McKinley and McLaughlin now, it's important if Rangers are going to win it that they stop the service coming in from there. I can see 2-against-1 situations happening on both sides. Now, the more times that happens, the better Celtic's chances will be, because if they can get the ball up into this kind of area wide and then provide service into Van Hooijdonk in particular, then he could cause problems. There's obviously the movement of Andreas Tom. He'll be moving, he'll be that side, he'll be making runs down the channel, he'll be making runs ahead. All good movement.
A more familiar look to Rangers today, with Andy Gorham returning in goal, Davy Robertson at left back, and even Trevor Stephen, who's been out since August, on the bench. But Richard Gough not risked, though he was close to a comeback. So John Brown continues at the back, and the captaincy stays with Stuart McCall.
And when we see the formation, this is what I mean, Martin. The two wide men will try and occupy both full-backs, Robertson and Cleland, and push them back. And by doing that, then they'll try and get McKinley into this area free. They'll try and get McNamara into that area free. And that's what we'll be trying to do. And I just wonder if Jury, maybe on this side, Laudrup on that side, part of their job in this system might be you've got to help both wide full-backs. Very solid at the back. This is a tough, uncompromising trio here that Celtic have found hard to break down. Ahead of that, well, we've got the stability of McCall. I think he'll just sit there, and that will allow Gascoigne to go forward and create chances.
Rangers very much in pole position in the Premier Division, 5 points ahead of Celtic, 5 games to play, and in 5 games against Celtic this season they are undefeated. But Celtic hope that as holders of the Scottish Cup, well, that will provide an extra dimension for them today. Everything here to run to a prescribed time schedule, and maybe that's why Les Mottram is just holding the teams in the mouth of the tunnel. The experienced FIFA referee. He was actually the referee when Celtic won the Cup here last May. The Celtic fans certainly remember that day. Silverware to Celtic Park at last after 6 years. Rangers, their fans will remember that they are the last side and the only Scottish side to beat Celtic this season. 2 blue Old Firm victories back in September, but since then, and it's incredible to record it, 29 matches without domestic defeat, the Tommy Burns Celtic team.
Well, that shows you the progress they've made, and just wait to hear the noise as they appear.
Club allocated some 17,000 tickets, quickly snapped up, of course, and even with its new design and a very tidy look around the majority of the stadium, you feel that it's not a stadium big enough for an Old Firm clash. You go back to as recently as the 60s when there was more than 130,000 for a Scottish Cup final between Celtic and Rangers. I believe, Andy, were you here?
I was here. Yes, I was, Martin.
Can I remind you of the score?
Tell me.
4-0 to Celtic.
Yeah, I went out the house that day and I have a picture at home with me and my brothers, and I'm standing there with my Rangers scarf and that on, and I've got 4 fingers up indicating it would be 4-0. I was right, but to the wrong team.
Well, I can tell all the viewers who might be a bit concerned, Andy's not wearing his Rangers scarf this afternoon. Totally impartial, and there aren't many of those in the ground. It's an occasion the like of which Les Mottram has been through a few times, but it's still an atmosphere really to take your breath away if you're an infrequent visitor to Old Firm ties and the atmosphere. And now Celtic have their huddle, which is a new policy this season, started by Tony Mowbray during his time as a Celtic player, now of course back in England with Ipswich. Messages of inspiration in there. Celtic are ready. It's 11 months since Celtic last tasted Old Firm success. That was here at Hampden, which of course was their temporary home last season. Rangers would point out that there was nothing riding on the result that afternoon. And when there is, as there certainly is today, their recent record is excellent. Ali McCoist and Brian Laudrup get the semi-final underway. Hearts left here successful in their search for a place in the final on May the 18th yesterday. A match with a truly dramatic finish to it. Who will they play in the final? Will it be Celtic or Rangers? 90 minutes today. Should the sides be level, no extra time, it would be a replay back here a week on Wednesday. Gascoigne decides to keep it short. Petric should come up for the ball pumped into the penalty area. It was eventually Alec Belland who crossed it.
I think the one thing I noticed, you see John Hughes there with that strap around his hand. Was that man?
It was a damaged thumb yesterday, and he was packed off quickly to hospital for an X-ray. Brian O'Neill put on standby.
He's a tough character, John Hughes. I wouldn't expect any
burly man.
Hand injury to keep him out of this game. Just looking at the Rangers formation, Mark, I think the games we've seen in the league recently, Walter Smith has gone in with a more conservative lineup. Not that adventurous, I think, conscious of the fact that the thing was to protect the lead rather than concede it. But I think today's a game where they have to go for it, and I certainly think this is a far more positive formation with the three, Laudrup, Jury and McCoist in forward positions.
Celtic have been really developing as a team. Rangers feel that they've got plenty of potential match winners, particularly, of course, Gascoigne and Laudrup. Two nervy early moments, no surprise in that. All the goals that he scored, Pierre van Hooijdonk with a tentative touch. Davy Robertson hoping to last longer in this semi-final than he did the last time the teams met in the Scottish Cup 4 years ago, and he was sent off after 6 minutes. He couldn't stop 10-men Rangers winning heroically 1-0 through Ali McCoist. Mixter. Deflected off Gascoigne.
He's looking very quickly, Matt. I noticed Gordon Jury tracked Tosh McKinley's run right back. Remember at the New Year's game, I mentioned the fact that although Jury was picked, he spent most of the first half in the right back area. And I think he's going to do an awful lot of that early on, and I'm sure the only other way will be, will Jackie McNamara be positive and confident enough to test Brian Laudrup on the other side?
It was a good header by Jury, finding above McKinley, and Jury was angry with the challenge from the Celtic left back, and Les Mottram may be drawn to it more by Jury's response as much as anything else.
Well, they obviously felt that he got caught with the arm.
It's a booking for McKinley, and it's another Gascoigne free kick. And no option outside, and this time it has to go into the middle. Well, it came via a Celtic head to McCoist, who was taken totally by surprise. McStay trying to swing it to the left to McLaughlin.
Well, almost half a chance though for Alan McCoist. The ball did take a slight deflection. I can only think he was unsighted. Certainly drops. It seemed to go through his legs just as it drops over here. It does.
Touched off McNamara's head. Celtic's throw. Hughes, a real warrior of a figure. McNamara, certainly a candidate for Scotland's Young Player of the Year, along with his great buddy on that far side, Simon Donnelly. 24 games he's played for Celtic, Jackie McNamara, and hasn't yet tasted defeat. Tom. Here's McStay. Now McKinley, who set up 4 of the 5 goals on Monday for Celtic against Aberdeen, really had a match to remember.
Not with quality like that, though. one of his purer deliveries.
McCall. Robertson has to play it back to Gorham. Walter Smith pleased to have the natural left-sidedness of Toby Robertson available in this particular formation that the Rangers manager favours. Three central defenders, and Cleland down the right, Robertson down the left. Has to provide some width. Van Hooydonk. Stay going in, flips out off Robertson. Well, these two sets of players know each other so well. You can talk about semi-final nerves, but there's also this tactical confrontation that happens when they go head-to-head. These great Glaswegian rivals. Oh, the first chink appear. Motton's going to hand out a second yellow card for Celtic, and this one's to McStay.
That was clumsy more than sinister, I thought. It's more like a body check on them. A little bit surprised. Amazing, 7 minutes almost gone, and the only touch that Paul Gascoigne's had of the football has been when there's a free kick. This is his third. He hasn't been involved at all in open play.
Rangers have got 4 lined up to fight for this free kick. And McLaren, who scored from a header in the last meeting between the two sides, wasn't located this time by Gascoigne.
Well, he had 4, Mark, but only 2 attacked it. You see 2 hold at the edge of the 18-yard box. Well, you can't score if you do that. And only really, I think it was McCoy.
By Petric. Celtic take the free kick short. McKinley. Hughes. And Hooydonk rather static through the centre. Donnelly's trying to give an angle. And Hughes, well, backed his ability on the ball. Gascoigne, crossed by Donnelly. I was talking to Paul Gascoigne this morning. He told me how nervous he was feeling, even when he'd been through as much as he's experienced in his career. And on the anxiety.
You say he'd be happier now, Mark. He's had a touch of the ball.
And Hooydonk. Brown, Donnelly was chasing. Peter Grant got a foot in ahead of Gascoigne. Tom Grant, who contributes so much tackling power and strength in Celtic's midfield, but not always so much shooting power.
No, he's certainly not around Peter Grant for his goal-scoring ability. A lot of great qualities in him as a player. It's a half-decent setup, very strong side anyway, he's left. And I think every picture tells the story. They're almost sparring the opening 8-9 minutes, Mark. They've got a great deal of respect for each other. Sometimes that can close the game up a little bit. I think that's what's happening at the moment. It needs something to happen. Just someone to produce a spark.
Cullen. And close chasing and giving Hughes a shot. Got the fans baying. And the referee blowing.
You see what Hughes is trying to do. He's just trying to let it run for a goal kick, and McCoy's saying, well, you're not going to get it cheaply, you're not going to get it easy. It's a little nudge, it's nothing more.
Well, Gordon Marshall came out and got himself involved in that.
Well, he shouldn't have done. I mean, as I say, John Hughes certainly had nothing to argue about. He's given Alan McCoy plenty over the years, and it was only a little nudge. I think just Gordon Marshall's just overreacted a little. Les Mottram just tell him to take it easy.
Tom Boyd, who's had a tremendous season. Jury doing his defensive job against McKinley. I'm sure he'll look for opportunity to take McKinley back into his own half. Tom. Van Hooijdonk. Gascoigne coming to terms now with the pace of the early moments. McLaren. Brown trying to ease it forward. The forward covered with Brown having taken a more advanced position. Celtic pressing well. And McLaren wondering whether he's going to have a May date here at Hampden against his first club, Hearts. Gascoigne. That's a very committed challenge by McKinley. Gascoigne applauds him. Now, whether that was genuine or sarcastic isn't totally clear.
I think genuine respect for a good, clean challenge. That's what it was from both of them. I felt sorry for the ball on that occasion.
No challenge from the Rangers player. Got between the post and Laudrup. Next up, McLaughlin, who's had some good moments against Rangers in the past. Picked today ahead of Stuart Gray, who played well on Monday against Aberdeen in that 5-0 romp. And there's the Jury again taking on his defensive responsibilities. Of course, there's a solitary figure up front for Rangers. Well, it was either a Rangers throw or a Celtic free kick, and it's been given the latter. Hughes has come up, free kicks played a big part. And the teams met recently, they both scored their respective goals from set plays. But they've got to keep it away from Andy Gorham to make it work today, Celtic.
No, they can't put it in and around that 6-yard box. Certainly not in between the sticks like that. Andy Gorham will just come and take them quite comfortably all day. That's sloppy play though from Alan McLaren there.
Gascoigne. Cleland. They've got another chance. Well, Hughes wasn't going to get to him. And his momentum just took him into a place where Cohen actually played the ball. He was a bit fortunate, the defender, who was somewhat exposed. Drops McKinley's way. And on the way of Tom. Put up from Brown. Parted Andy Tom's hair.
Yeah, bounces Tom. Small player ups to just nod this on. That's a free kick. It's dangerous play. I think we'll find John Brown's name goes in the book.
So 3 bookings, what, in 13 minutes. Stoppage for the injured German. And amidst the raucous rivalry, both clubs managed by relatively quiet, much respected men. Tommy Burns and Walter Smith both share strong competitive instincts, never more so than in matches such as these. And a different perspective on the early moments here. Tom. Oh! What a reply that would have been.
That's beaten Andy Gorham. He's absolutely beaten. That's on target. Gorham's got no chance. Whether it takes him by surprise, I'm not sure. He should have expected. He's been beaten before this season by Andy Tom, but you can look at Gorham. He's gone the wrong way. He edges right. There he goes, and he's totally flat-footed. And 2 foot lower. Well, that's given Celtic the lead.
McCoist. Back it goes to Marshall. McNamara. Try from Tom, who of course has come into Scottish football with a great international pedigree, more than 50 caps for the old East Germany, 10 further international games after the unification of that country. McCoist, who reached 50 caps for Scotland, of course, last month, and celebrated it with a winner against Australia. He might be celebrating here. He's going to get a talking to from Rose Mottram.
Well, it's been bitty the opening 15 minutes. He feels that it was a free kick. There was maybe nicked from the back there by Tom Boyd. The referee just told him to get on with it. He was quite right. But the game's been bitty. It's been broken up by got a few free kicks. Stopped and started. Far too much to get any fluency in it at the moment.
The 6th meeting between Celtic and Rangers this season. The first 2 were won by Rangers. The 3 since then have been draws. Gascoigne, McCoist. He's got Laudrup with him, but McCoist goes on himself. Ali McCoist, in the end, tried too much.
Well, you're not going to get an opportunity than that. Great run by Laudrup initially to create the opening. Gascoigne spotted where the ball should have been played and delivered it perfectly.
Brian Laudrup was there all the while, but Ali McCoist had eyes only for goal.
Watch this one, watch this one. The run comes across there from Laudrup and then the ball slotted. Now he can choose anything. Should he play Laudrup in? Go on, play him in now. He's got to tap in. He completely ignores him. He elects to go on his own and is crowded out. That's a great opportunity gone, and he'll know that. Brian Laudrup will be best pleased with his team that ignored him there.
I suppose the counter argument is that you don't get all the goals that Ali McCoist has got by looking for other players all the time, but I know what you're saying. It was the best opportunity of the game, but Celtic might have one themselves here. And it was the fight for the right to get the shot in. It came from McNamara.
Well, it's the best 2 minutes of the match we just had. The great shot from Tom, the chance from McCoist, and this one from McNamara. John Brown just gets a little bit caught. It's a nice ball fed back to the edge of the box, but he never looked comfortable in taking the shot. He was always under pressure.
Petric and Roland, who won the Scottish Cup medals for Dundee United against Rangers a couple of years ago. It's been a great competition for Rangers back to the beginning of the 80s. I think they've won it twice in 14 seasons, the Scottish Cup. Had to play it. McCoist, Jury, goal kick.
I don't think he agreed with that decision. He's booking Gordon Jury now. He obviously didn't like what was said to him.
And he calls the caution count to 2 apiece. Gordon Jury thought or said, it is a goal kick, and Gordon Marshall will take it. Marshall, who was the substitute goalkeeper not used in the final through that cup run last season, and a wonderful gesture gave his medal to Brian O'Neill, who was injured in the week leading up to the final, having played in all the other games. But Marshall said he wants his winner's medal this season. He superseded Pat Bonner. Jury. Gascoigne, who started it, wants to get involved further forward from Cleland's pass. He's done well to hook it across, but Marshall should make it his against McCoist. McStay. And Hoydonk. He's got another chance. Oh, almost through for Donnelly. Jury. Now Petric. Gascoigne. Both sides getting good work from their forward players to drop back behind the ball to stop a considered build-up in the respective sets of defenders. The fact of why the game has been tight and tense to this point. Rangers have had a good opportunity and Ali McCoist couldn't take it. And Hoydonk into the space behind McLaren, but too far ahead of Tom.
Well, just signs, Martin, in the last 5 or 10 minutes. I think the last 5 that the game is beginning to open up a little. Rangers are beginning to get Gascoigne on the ball. It's been noticeable he's been behind the 2 best moves, although he didn't make a very good job of that pass.
Midfield tenacity from the call. Grant rather drastically mistiming his challenge. And Robertson, that's all it was.
He certainly made a genuine attempt to get the ball, Peter Grant.
Gascoigne on the ball again. Leaving the ball for Robertson. Toby Robertson certainly got a long throw. Tom Brown trying to get underneath it. Here's McCall. Petric. McCoist to chase. And to shove off Donnelly, at least initially. And Fields with a cutback. Stay. Grant. It's McLaughlin who chases it for Celtic. Cleland, who doesn't get the header back to the goalkeeper right at all, and Celtic have a corner halfway through the first half.
It was a decent ball from Peter Grant. He had a look earlier in the build-up. He saw that Brian McLaughlin was forward.
McKinley takes the corner. Infringement spotted even before the ball arrived. There's a little bit of contact, but I have to say that I've got some sympathy for John Hughes there if he's been given a free kick for that. Brown. Dropped across to his immediate passage. So Celtic have to think again. They can't involve either full-back at the moment, like they like to do. McCoist is watching McNamara. Jury is split to this side to watch McKinley.
The Rangers have been very organised when they haven't had the ball. They're saying to Celtic, we know where your strengths are, we know where we're putting our players, and up to now they've been very disciplined. At least 2 out the front 3 have filled those wide areas and have made progress difficult.
It's been a match in midfield to this point. McLaughlin. Boyd who got a foot in. McKinley, another defender, was well in advance as well. Gascoigne gets Rangers out of trouble. Jury's dropped to the ground, but Tosh McKinley, one of the players booked already, not guilty of any offence there.
I think it's just a clash of heads. Surprised it was a free kick, man. Whether it was Les Mottram just drops the ball, I'm not sure.
And the referee wants the ball. Yes. A contrived drop ball. McLaren to play it upfield, and the game will officially start again from here. Tom. Now Larkin. Oh, Gascoigne didn't expect that at all. He turned his back. Tom. Held up by McCall. Donnelly coming infield, takes over. Van Hooydonk's offside. But there was a look of a cutting edge about that Celtic attack.
That was better movement. Lovely takeover here. Donnelly comes inside. Good run across the face. It's very tight. He's not offside, actually, when you're looking at it like that. You can see Cleland at the bottom playing him onside. He did well running across the face of the defenders. That was the important thing. And he's a little unlucky to be flagged offside there.
Pass. Donnelly trying to put some pressure on Robertson. There's a big debate in Scotland, Andy, about Davy Robertson and the fact that Craig Brown doesn't include him in his international plans. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I saw that in the papers today, Davy, making his views known that he feels that he won't be involved. I find it strange. I think David Robertson's had a great season, and he has good quality. He's playing for one of the best clubs in the country at the highest level. Yeah, and it is strange that he's not involved in Craig Brown's squad.
I should point out, only at Scotland have done so well in qualifying for Euro 96, but with the under-21 and their equivalent competition, the under-21 team are through to the semi-finals. It's a great feat. Now here's Cleland. It was crowded out in the end. McLaughlin, but Rangers won it back well forward, and Celtic couldn't play their way out. McCall sorted up. And of course to FA Cup final with Everton, scored 2 goals in 1989, but Liverpool scored 3. Jury summoning up the reinforcements for the long throw. It's actually only Alan McLaren, but it's back where it started, and it's a Celtic ball this time. We're dealing with a game here of very narrow margins. For improving Celtic, Rangers with this wonderful recent record, particularly in the league, looking to catch Celtic's achievement of 9 successive championships.
And Tommy Burns isn't very happy. He's down at the dugout, and Les Mottram's going over to have a word with him now. But he wasn't happy at all with that tackle on Tosh McKinley. As he plays the ball up the line, Alan McLaren comes in, catches him on the knee. It's a late tackle. He's got a good view of that from where Tommy's standing, and he's every right to be upset with it.
McLaren's made his way from the scene of his crime. Celtic making a little bit of progress down the touchline. had to scurry. And from Van Hooijdonk. Back from Robertson. For you on Sky Sports tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. A very big game for Newcastle United at Blackburn. Blackburn, the only current Premiership team that Les Ferdinand's never scored against. So I wonder whether that might change tomorrow. Toon Army will hope so. Gascoigne. Well, the foul it wasn't the worst foul of the game. Free kick to Rangers. Gascoigne's got to move it back a couple of yards. John McLaughlin. McCall. Now Cleland. Jury was quick off the blocks he needed to be. He's done very well, Gordon Jury. Now he tries to whip it across. McNamara away, who was perhaps fortunate, through straight to McLaughlin. Tom to the left, Van Hooijdonk pulling to the right. There's a bit of space there as well for McNamara to move into, but McLaughlin's looked in the other direction, and I'm afraid he's got it wrong.
It's a pity. Opened up. They were backpedaling Rangers. McNamara at last had got up, high up the pitch, free. No one goes with him. It's a good run across. Van Hooijdonk, he's bringing them inside there. You can see McNamara going across the top. He elects to look for Andreas Tom, and it wasn't a great ball at all.
Boy. Van Hooijdonk, now they can involve McNamara here. Tom going for the one into feet, and Van Hooijdonk as well.
His touch, Van Hooijdonk's touch hasn't been good so far in the match. He's got an awful lot of balls fed into his feet, and he's missed his target more often than not up to now. But that's the kind of situation they're looking to get Celtic with McNamara.
And the call, the challenge was on Grant. The referee wanted to play the advantage, and the call unabashed goes in again, gets the ball this time, and he's going to get hooked as well for the first challenge.
This is a one, this is a booking. See, that one's late again. Although Peter Grant jumped up very quickly and Celtic had the ball, the referee just allowed play to go on, and then once it had gone dead, I think the booking was inevitable.
Boy, so 5 players on the disciplinary tightrope. Stay. Now McLaughlin. This is Tom, who likes to come back and work in midfield. At times that has left Van Hooijdonk a little short of further support.
Both teams have found real difficulty in breaking down either defensive unit at the moment.
There's quick thinking at the throw from Gordon Jury and from Laudrup to receive. But the ball's gone out. He's such an elegant player, Brian Laudrup. At times it looks out of context in a match such as this one, which has all been hurly-burly to this point.
I see Celtic enjoying a huge advantage in the pressure and the control of the football, but neither team's been able to really create anything. Rangers one chance from the Foyst, and Celtic with Andreas Tom shot from about 25 yards, the two best opening.
Gascoigne, pass Boyd, behind Robertson though. He's a little aggravated with himself.
It's been typical of the first half though so far. Most important area of the pitch when passing, control, everything has to be right, the attacking thirds. Both teams have just been lacking a little bit in that at the moment.
But we shouldn't forget, it is a semi-final. Yeah. It doesn't matter how you win, as long as you win.
Yeah, semi-finals are all about winners. Very few people remember the losing semi-finals. And they're not noted for the quality in the football in the majority of semi-finals.
Let's say the winners today will remember the losing semi-finalists because of the sweet satisfaction in the Glaswegian context. And no hard and fast conclusions to be drawn from this game at this point, except that the two great rivals are very well matched. Gascoigne trying to change that in favour of Rangers. Cleland. Wants it square of Gascoigne. Looking for something a little bit more ambitious, and it was to McCall. Whether McCoist would have been allowed to go on then. Certainly tricked Hughes. And now Brown, first player to go down. And it's another stoppage that Les Motton's got to supervise. Donnelly in some distress for Celtic.
Well, I think this is the first one when John Brown just gets caught, just nicks in front of Pierre Van Hooijdonk. I don't think there's an awful lot the striker could do. He makes an honest attempt, I think, to go for the ball. He's just fractionally beaten to it. And then there was a crunching block tackle that involved Donnelly and Gascoigne.
Suggestion of a free kick at the end of it. It's another drop ball. Brown's okay. Donnelly, who was who came off the worst in the second incident, is back in, battling for the ball. That was McNamara. Free kick to Rangers. Count rises. It's 0-0 at Hampden. Gascoigne. The jury for Gascoigne, he's taken it on, and it lacked only the finish.
He's been the one player in a blue jersey who's looked to be an absolute genuine threat. This is a magnificent run. Forceful, positive. He gets the return and he's a little lucky. He's on the stretch. Didn't quite cushion it near enough his body.
Van Hooijdonk.
Now that's a strange decision as well. The linesman's 5 yards away looking straight at it. The referee's about 30 yards away. And he gives the decision.
Well, he saw Van Hooijdonk fall.
He gets caught. Good spot there, ref.
So a free kick to Celtic, and this might be a chance. 7 minutes to go to half-time. And Hooijdonk watched by Petric. Hughes trying to get free, and Tom as well. And it was teased to the edge of the area. It comes back in from McLaughlin. That's Hughes. Corner.
Good job, good header from John Hughes. Very powerful in the air. He's not going to score with this header. It's too far out, he's under too much pressure. But he knows he's got to win it. He's trying to knock it down to Van Hooijdonk. Gordon Brown just scrambles it wide.
McKinley to take the corner. Donnelly. Tom has kept it in. McStay. Hughes trying to get to it again, good defending by McCoist.
Well, he'd have bet money on John Hughes against Sally McCoist, 9 times out of 10. But McCoist did his job in the edge of the 6-yard box.
It's back with another Tosh McKinley corner. McNamara, McStay. Now there might be a Rangers break on here. Dury. McCall. Robertson sprinting with him. And he might win the race here against Hughes. Davy Robertson round the back of Celtic. And Alec Clellan, the other wing-back, was trying to get into the penalty area as well. McKinley. And suddenly it's Rangers who have to do the chasing.
And there's a ball on wide for the change of play.
Donnelly. Great change of direction. McLaughlin. Oh, mown down by Clellan.
Well, that's one of the easier decisions that Les Mottram had to make today. No attempt to play the ball. McLaughlin skipping past Clellan into the danger area.
But all coming after a great break by Davy Robertson at the other end.
Well, he did ever so well. He stood the ball up brilliantly, and the only thing that he did wrong was he got a little bit too much on it.
It's the fourth Rangers caution of the first half. The half that's still got 4 minutes of stoppage time to run. McKinley takes it. Skims off the head of Brown. Tom settles for the throw. Rangers had everyone back, but just having to release one or two out of the penalty area. It's a free kick against Van Hooydonk. Oh, and a strange one from Cora. Caught McCall out. And the goalkeeper puts up the hand of apology. McKinley, danger not over to Rangers yet. Because Tosh McKinley was on the ball in a wide position, and that can spell trouble to the opposition. It didn't that time.
I'm a bit surprised he didn't cross it earlier. He's every right to be holding that hand up.
He's every right to be saying to his goalkeeper, don't do that. Talk about playing from the back, but that was very reckless from Andy Gorham. Doesn't make many mistakes, but that was one of them, and he wasn't in the end punished for it. Danced on by Dury. Gascoigne. Not easy for Dury here, but he's got it down. McCall. Laudrup spotted Robertson again. And he tried to steer it. McCoy must score! Rangers take the lead, and the holders are behind. 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, the master goal poacher gets one of the easiest goals he'll ever score against Celtic. But an awful lot's down to David Robertson's against forceful run. It's on his weaker side, and he didn't just try and blast it. He looks to feed this past the goalkeeper. Just watch the way he sidefoots this. Looking to place it. Gordon Marshall can only just stop it and nothing else. And McCoy just doesn't miss those kind of chances. Keeper thinks he's done his job, but with McCoy around, you have to do a little bit more than that.
Well, the player who settled the last Scottish Cup tie between these two clubs, a semi-final 4 years ago. He's given Rangers the advantage here, and it was made by a player who has good cause to forget that particular match. Davy Robertson, he was sent off before McCoy scored, before the match had even really taken shape. And he's had a say in this semi-final of the right kind. Laudrup. Play on.
Well, the game needed a goal desperate from either side, just to bring it to life. It hadn't really caught fire at all.
McLaughlin. Well, Donnelly just put on the brakes for a second, and when he started to get going again, he wasn't going to catch it.
It was a great run from Robertson for the goal, Martin, but what great vision from Laudrup, who had a little look and just played a one-touch pass to him.
Marshall at full stretch could only parry the ball out. The goalkeeper who started as a junior with Rangers is the beaten Celtic goalkeeper here. The first goal of the semi-final. Brown. Here's McCall. Certainly the first half a few chances. 2 of them to McCoist. And by the law of averages, he was going to take the second one.
His eyes must have just grown huge, lit up as he saw that ball drop there.
Jury. Here's Cleland. Couldn't get through them. Tom on to Grant. Rangers have got a problem with Donnelly on the outside. It's all about their picking the right options. There were 1 or 2 available to Donnelly.
That was the hardest option, man. I couldn't see the thinking there. He's not going to score playing a ball there, but Tom had pulled to the back post completely free.
Well, at half-time in the Scottish Cup semi-final here at Hampden, 1 goal, the man with the Midas touch, Ali McCoist. After a bitty, at times bad-tempered match to that point, Andy Tom came close with a streamer from the edge of the Rangers penalty area. But Celtic, a goal behind, the trophy perhaps slipping from their grasp. 1-0 to Rangers at half-time.
Half-time. They lead by 1-0. The cup holders are not best pleased, naturally. 1-0 Rangers. Ali McCoist's goal separating the sides. Attempts few and far between. Celtic 3, and they haven't hit the target yet. Rangers just 2 on target. We've had more bookings than we have goal attempts. McKinley and McStay and John Brown inside the first 13 minutes. Jury, McCall and Alex Cleland followed them into the book. Possession 55% to Celtic, but they trail the action areas. That's been dominated by Celtic as well. Kevin Drinkle and Charlie Nicholas are our guests here this afternoon, and I think a unanimous verdict at half-time here that Rangers are a little fortunate to be in front. Would you agree, Kevin?
Yeah, I think so. It isn't the game we wanted. Not a lot of shots, not a lot of efforts on the goal, and I think just on that basis, and neither team deserves to be winning at the minute.
You said, Charlie, before we started, that you felt Celtic needed the first goal. Now, they haven't got it. Worse, Rangers have. Yeah. It's all uphill now, isn't it?
I think it's very difficult now for Celtic. I think Celtic have the players to get involved and get them back in the game. But Rangers tend to do this to Celtic. They've done it all season. I've sat back, both myself and Kevin, I thought, you know, it's frustrating watching Rangers playing with just Ali McCoist up front. But they do this so often to Celtic, it frustrates them. You can see Rangers maybe hitting Celtic in the break now.
I didn't hear a word you said.
Thanks, mate.
It's Davy Provin's friend, isn't it, on the PA here. So let's have a look back at the highlights of that first half. Andy Tom had no sooner got a boot in the face from John Brown that he got up and hit this, Charlie, and that was in, wasn't it?
Oh, well, it deceives Andy Gorham. You actually see Andy stepping to his right here, because he looks off balance, Andy Tom, when he hits this. But he comes across and gets tremendous power in it. And I mean, Andy Gorham was well beaten. I mean, that could easily have ended up in the net. I mean,
on target was in. Nothing the keeper could do about that.
No, nothing. He'd gone the wrong way.
McCoist has got the goal that separates the two teams, but what an opportunity this was earlier in the game. When I think, Kevin, most in the stadium were holding their breath, because normally he'd score here, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it was great movement and a great ball by Gascoigne that gets him in. I think just here he spots Laudrup, and that takes his mind off what he's trying to do. Normally you wouldn't have to ask him twice, you'd just stick it in the net.
Or alternatively you run that square, don't you?
Well, I think that just confused him slightly, and that's not something that's been said about Alistair.
I felt he would probably maybe even worry about being offside for Laudrup there. I think he just, without being aware of it, I think he ends up in Coisty's road. and he'd be probably worrying about just sticking it in it.
He could see the goal. He's a goal scorer.
He wouldn't pass it in there, that's for sure.
Paul Gascoigne has been quieter than he was the last time we saw this game, what, 3-4 weeks back. Why, Kevin?
Well, I think we talked about it. We've just seen here, I said before the game, that I think he likes to get his head up and play off people in front of him, play them little 1-2s. And with the way Rangers have set out, which is maybe to frustrate the Celtic fullbacks getting forward, he hasn't had people in front of him to play them 1-2s off. That time it worked great, and really would have maybe hoped to have a better strike on the goal.
And then just as we saw in the dugout, instructions to calm it, wait. We can see half-time through here.
Yeah.
Walter Smith particularly. Rangers struck, and this is the goal. From all the way back.
Yeah, Judy's done well. He's persistent, gets Gascoigne's return pass, and he keep it quite well here. It's a good pass from McCall, but it's made by Laudrup in the run from Robertson. He takes a gamble, and he tries to place it with his weaker foot. And there they say Mr. Luck has arrived. But he's done it so often. This guy has made a career of a real high standard with these tap-ins. He never gives up hope. I actually wonder whether Robertson's shot is going in, but Marshall has to save it. And that's typical McCoist.
But if you go across the keeper, Kevin, isn't this the message that Andy's constantly talking about week in, week out? That's going to happen 9 times out of 10, isn't it?
I mean, that's what you want. That's an ideal goal. You ask people to do that, and one of my shouts when I'm stood at the side of the pitch now is rebounds, and that's what you're looking for. If you hit the target, let the goalkeeper knock it down. Very difficult to save them and keep hold of them in that situation. So McCoist there again, be looking to do that all the time.
Just 2 attempts on target, that was one of them. They've both come from Rangers. Celtic haven't yet hit the target, Charlie. Yeah. What have they got to do in this second 45 to put that to rights?
Well, I think in Van Hooijdonk especially, I think he's been trying to play a lot of one-touch passing. They have good movement in Andy Tom and Donnelly, and McLaughlin wide on the left has been fairly quiet so far. But I would prefer Van Hooijdonk to hold it in and get support from the midfield. They tend to first time everything, and I think they just quicken it up too much at times, and I would rather see him holding it in, getting support, and then I think Celtic can get probably more shots, more attempts and goal.
This is their 6th attempt this season at beating Rangers. It hasn't happened yet, and we talked about it before the game. Psychologically, is that something that they are thinking about at this moment, or is that a million miles from their thoughts?
No, I don't think it's a worry. The worry for Celtic is they know again they've had major possession again, 55%. They'll always have the possession, but they've got to make it count. The final ball so far has been quite poor. They've gone into decent areas and not made it count so far. But they'll just wait for the one opportunity and hopefully take it.
And having talked about McCoist being, what did you say, Mr. Lucky, Kevin? I mean,
golden,
he's golden. He has made a career of doing that. It's to his credit, isn't it? That he's always in the right place at the right time.
It's a skill. It's an insight into the game. Something he's got. People pay a lot of money for that. You know, I mean, there again, why was he there? I don't know. He should have been maybe linking up with a play, but he's in the right spot at the right time again.
An opportunity, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he goes into places that you don't expect the ball to fall. That's what he does. That's his art, and he does it better than anybody else.
1-0 to Rangers at Hampden Park at half-time. Hearts, of course, are waiting for the winners of this semi-final. They beat Aberdeen yesterday. Right now, it's Rangers in front. We'll be back with the whole of the second half next. Semi-final between Rangers and Celtic. A little later, when Andy joins us in the studio, we'll be looking back on all of yesterday's action from the Premiership. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, it's Blackburn against Newcastle United live on the Monday Night Football. From Ewood Park, of course, Monday Night Football, Blackburn against Newcastle. Next Sunday, 1 o'clock start, Hibs against Celtic from Easter Road. Celtic not yet out of the title chase, but time is fast running out for them. And that's followed by Newcastle's next instalment, the chase for the title in England. Aston Villa, the visitors at St James's Park. That's next Super Sunday. Right now, let's rejoin our commentators here at Hampden, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you very much, Richard. Ali McCoist, who scored his first Old Firm goal back in 1983 and has managed at least one every year since then. Rangers have so much to be grateful to McCoist for. Celtic must be fed up with the sight of him. Celtic have made a substitution. The Dane Morten Weghorst is on for the second half in place of Brian McLaughlin. So the holders in trouble at Hampden Park. What will Rangers' policy be in the second half, having got the lead in such a tight game? Jury. And Boyd rather picking up some of the tone of the first half. With a tackle into the back of McCoist.
It's improved, isn't it? It's a needless free kick Tom Boyd's giving away. Alan McCoist's not going anywhere. He's facing the touchline. Just needs to stand his ground and hold him up.
Alan McCoist might have the physical pain, but he's inflicted the mental pain on the opposition to this point.
Looks like Tommy Burns is actually going to go for it this half, Mark. You notice that Simon Donnelly is playing certainly central. And it looks like he said to Donnelly, Tom and Van Hooydonk, well, you occupy the three centre-backs of Rangers, try and get in amongst them and cause some problems. Because as we saw at half-time, with 3 attempts at goal, none on target, and haven't really tested them.
McKinley. Van Hooydonk, the 26-goal man, has been disappointing. Gascoigne. Fouled by McStay. Well, the change of philosophy from Tommy Burns needs Celtic not to concede a second goal here. They've put it properly into practice. Gascoigne trying to come up with something extravagant. I'm reminded, of course, of his FA Cup semi-final goal at Wembley, a terrific free kick past David Seaman and Arsenal back in 1991. Hughes. Now Boyd. Top, and that's the ball delivered to feet. McKinley hoping it will stay in play. And it's a corner for Celtic.
Well, they did keep it in, but they didn't produce a good delivery into the box. It was very easy for Petric to deal with that.
Over the whole pack of them. And the top seen off by Gordon Jury. And a race to reach that corner, which was really overhit by McKinley. Celtic attacking the end in which their supporters amassed. The same for Rangers. It should up the volume in the second half. McNamara couldn't deal with it. Back with Hughes. Paul wanting to really dwell on the ball. Well, if Celtic really do believe that they've improved sufficiently to challenge Rangers this season, now is the time they've got to prove it. They've won a lot of friends around the country for the style of football. But as far as the old Firming counters are concerned, they're still looking at a much better Rangers record in them. Gascoigne, McCall, Robertson on the move down the left again, as he was in the lead up to McCoist's goal. McCall eagerly intercepting. McCoist, not quite for Rangers. Robertson, Gascoigne, plenty in blue to his right. And in the end, he has to use them. Laudrup, Bowen leaving outside him. Laudrup. Oh, it's a lovely ball for Gordon Jury!
Well, what a chance to put the game beyond Celtic. Gascoigne's furious with him. I think he feels he should have squared it. Yeah, I've got no argument with Gordon Jury going for goal. Again, it's a super ball from Laudrup. Look at the way he just looks. He looks to be coming across, and he just reverses it. Celtic not out in a line, and really that's not a great strike from Gordon Jury. Got time to take it, pick his spot, and he just blasts it wide.
Really could have killed off Celtic. He's flitted in and out of the match, Brian Laudrup. But a key moment, his pass in the move that led to the goal, and that was an even more direct contribution to a scoring chance. He did get a flick this time for Donnelly. Laudrup cleverly down for Gascoigne. Oh, that's superb. Past Weghorst. And he's driving on and still forced it through for McCoist. The flag is up. The linesman is flagging. The referee has finally responded to it.
Well, if he was offside, he shouldn't have been. Again, what great skill from Paul Gascoigne. And he showed he was prepared to be brave here, because he just overruns it there. But he's so determined to make that ball his. 3 Celtic players around him, you can see they're just fractionally offside.
Oh, his first season in Scotland, and he has meant so much to Rangers. For all the yellow cards and disciplinary problems that we've read about, the ability that he brings into the Rangers team is of such a level. He's maybe slowed by that collision at the end of the last surge forward. It's a bruised thigh, it might be a bit hard to run off. Boyd. Gascoigne still able to manufacture a tackle. Tom picked the ball up quickly for Celtic. McNamara. Now McStay. Beyond Robertson. McNamara claiming a deflection, but the linesman had a good view of that, and it's a goal kick.
I think the way that Tommy Burns has set the stall out second half, I think it suggests that this game just might open up.
He's gone to the near post. Marshall able to make a comfortable catch as McCoist made his way into the centre as well, and a good throw from the Celtic goalkeeper for Donnelly. This is Tom. And Hoydon went to the near post, and Peter Graham dropped to his knees at the far post, where he was totally unattended and not spotted. The Celtic do have a corner. They need to find something extra. Maybe this is an opportunity for them to do it with Hughes' header. Away by Robertson. McStay. Grant able to turn. Donnelly, that's a bit on the short side. Gascoigne made it his against McNamara. Laudrup was in danger of going offside. Gascoigne realised that. Tom. McStay.
Well, he has in the past from there from McStay. It certainly opened up for him. Wide enough and long enough for him to pick his spot. Rangers don't really go press him quick enough. Alan McLaren eventually goes, and it's not one of Paul McStay's best.
Gascoigne's had to come off for some treatment. McLaren. he got past Laudrup. He left the defending to Cleland. They want Gascoigne back on quickly, and here he comes. McKinley trying to kid the referee into giving Celtic a corner then. And something from the throw with Van Hooijdonk. There's a sight to gladden the heart of Rangers fans who haven't seen Trevor Stephen for a long time. But with the greatest respect to Trevor, if it means coming on for Gascoigne, there'll be mixed feelings. Yellow cards in the first half, of course. There is the risk, as Jackie McNamara found out in the last Old Firm game, that you pick up a second one and you're off. Laudrup. Certainly looks as though Stephen is going to come on. Laudrup has picked out only a fellow Dane in the Weghorst, not a fellow Rangers player.
It's not just happening for Pierre Van Hooijdonk today. Again, his anxiety to get forward. I think he just strayed about half a yard offside. Laudrup actually gave the ball away, and you can see he's just about half a yard ahead of John Brown when the ball's delivered.
Jury. Celtic get possession, Rangers very quick to close them down. They've got to keep doing that. Jury. Can't quite get there, but stayed in. And that's a great ball up to the feet of Tom. Good work by McCall. Not happy with the treatment that's being handed out, and a war of words with McStay.
That was a solid challenge from Paul McStay, but you can see he wins the ball quite clearly there. Nothing wrong with the challenge. Certainly shook out Laudrup.
Matcham had a very good view of it, and he wasn't perturbed at all. Now he has given the free kick against Van Hooijdonk.
There's no arguments about this. Just hacking away at the back of Paul Gascoigne.
Forwards challenge. Not regarded as sinister enough for the yellow card to be produced that time. It's a free kick. Might be sinister for Celtic, with Gascoigne deliberating over it and bending it in towards McLaren. Hughes got there. Robertson. Hughes cleared again. Brown. Weghorst here. McStay. Laudrup. Robertson ahead of him. Davy Robertson, is he in for another one? It's off the line. Tom Boyd.
Well,
the Celtic's rescue.
They look to do what McCoy did and just roll it in. Perhaps he might have looked you up for power. Slotted in beautifully round the goalkeeper. Tried just to feed it across.
Jury. Needs some help. It's there from Cleland. Petrich. McCall. For a while, Laudrup was loitering on the left, and back to McCall again. And the first didn't get there, but it wouldn't have counted. Right from the flag. Hooijdonk. They're just not able to build off the big Dutchman at the moment, Celtic.
No, he's not having one of his better days.
It's as if he's got those red boots on the wrong feet. Half an hour to go.
That can change in a second if he gets a chance and puts it in.
Donnelly. Grant. Jury trying to cover McKinley's movement. And he has done it. It's one of those occasions where in looking at the ball you might just lose the man, but Gordon Jury showed the defensive side to his game again. He might have got a goal early in the second half to give Rangers real comfort. At least he was making sure then that their lead at 1-0 wasn't threatened by Tosh McKinley. Petric.
I think there's one thing that would be disappointing Tommy Burns, Mark, would be the fact that we've played an hour of football now. And I don't think up till now that Andy Goram's had a save to make of any description. And that would be the most disappointing thing.
Brown. Boyd. Stay competing with his own player to get to the ball, Peter Grubb. Just happy for Celtic to have it here. Donnelly. With Grant again. Well, possession doesn't count for anything if you don't produce the penetration at the end of it, but maybe they will this time with Jackie McNamara.
Again, though, it's so often just when you think there's a chance coming, there's a chance of getting a shot on target, I think he just overdoes it a little, Jackie McNamara. That first part he does ever so well. Maybe when he should have been looking, he looks to take on one man too many.
McKinley bends it in. Grant didn't control it straight away. Van Hooijdonk! Well, it looked as though Celtic's luck and Van Hooijdonk's luck might change then, because the ball just rather ricocheted through to him.
Yeah, it just takes a deflection there. It sits up quite nice, spinning viciously, but it's certainly there to be hit. Typical of his performance today, he didn't make a very good job of it.
I'm wondering where salvation in the semi-final will come from. Gascoigne. Grant, clever turn, but he needs some help from Boyd. McStay. Well, McNamara, Robertson was just a little casual then, he thought he would get the ball easily. McNamara still giving him problems. And Robertson did recover. Fine touch from Laudrup. Celtic have got to be very aware of the threat in the Rangers counter-attacking. The jury was disappointed it wasn't played across field. Tom. Even though Rangers were pushing forward then, there was no overcommitment. Plenty of bodies in blue back when Celtic regained possession. Tom. He's come as close as anyone for Celtic with that swerver from 25 yards in the first half. This is Donnelly. Tom again. Good tackle by McLaren. McCall. There's a ball on for McCoy, but there's not much support for him. Hughes is the defender. And Grant covering the run of McCall.
He just needed to hold it a bit, that was all. Gordon Jury was making great strides on the outside of Ali McCoy.
McStay, there's no one outside him, so he blasts it. Gorham fumbles, and it was the head of Brown, not the head of Van Hooijdonk.
Well, it looked pretty straightforward, didn't it? He hit the shot straight at the goalkeeper. The ball must have moved a bit through the air. He didn't deal with it very confidently. It is swerving all over the place.
It's a Celtic corner. Here's McStay to hoist it back in. Weghorst beyond the far post, trying to head it back into the danger area. stay. Weghorst. Rangers, everyone behind the ball. What we have, we hold. And they've got to keep holding for 25 minutes. Tom. McKinley. Another Celtic corner.
Now this is what they need. They need to sustain a bit of pressure. They need to ask some questions.
McCall made it his. Rangers haven't pushed out very far, inviting more pressure. Tom, key phase of the semi-final. Celtic probing and pressing for an equaliser. At least able to draw breath at the throw, whether Walter Smith might be thinking about making a change. Jury, Laudrup has sprung clear. Brian Laudrup past Marshall, and Rangers feel they've got 1 foot in the final.
Yeah, that's a wonderful calm finish from Brian Laudrup. Super build-up, a great break from Rangers, and they really... Well, I think they've killed Celtic off now. 1 touch from Gascoigne, a little touch from Laudrup, 1 touch from Jury, and then it's all about Laudrup. Whether there's a question of offside, we don't know, but the finish was one of sheer quality. Gordon Marshall, he elects to come out, and that made up Laudrup's mind. It was a lob over him, and for a man of his quality, well, was there any doubt he was going to achieve that?
It's what Celtic feared. The individual potential in the Rangers attack. So first McCoist, then Laudrup. And Rangers starting to reckon on a Hampden return next month. And Tommy Burns, whose side seemed destined to finish second in the Premier Division. Although that race isn't over yet. And the Celtic fans now start to shed the tears. They fear the worst. Tough to take. Derby defeats. Nowhere more painful than in the Glaswegian context. But it's not a defeat yet for Celtic. They've got Donnelly here. And they haven't got enough players in the box, in truth.
Well, they've really got to overcommit now, Celtic. I always thought they were still in with a chance at 1-0. It was important they didn't lose the second from their point of view. But now they have got to push men forward. They've got to risk losing a third in order to get themselves back in the game, I think.
Well, we talked about it as a key phase, with Celtic trying to force the play, Rangers prepared to soak it up, and then back their ability to break out. And the bet came up for Walter Smith. And it's Laudrup again. And Robertson. McCoist, Jury, I'm sure, screaming for it. And Boyd got out of a tight corner. And Tom tries to do the same, all the while Gordon Jury doing his bit for Rangers.
So I don't think there's any value in Andres Tom being back there, Mark. I know it's great to see, and at the best of times, in normal circumstances, you'd be saying great. But I think he should be leaving that to someone else, either in his back four or his midfield. And he should just be committing himself to being up front.
Claren can smile. Weghorst is told to calm down. Brian Laudrup with the Sort of finishing that Denmark will hope to utilise in Euro 96. The sort of finishing that Rangers haven't seen too much of this season. Overall, with an injury or two to deal with, it's not been quite as dramatic as his first season in Scotland, but it's certainly been a dramatic contribution in the context of the Tennent's Cup semi-final. This was gone. Oh, there's another booking here. Well, Beekhorst, who was spoken to a moment or two ago. Convoy trying to intervene. Just, I think, to clarify proceedings. And it's a free kick. But Rangers can almost relax over Gascoigne. At least they've sent Petric up. And he doesn't quite get there because Hughes hasn't lost his concentration. From Largup's corner. Largup got back onside as Gascoigne fed him the ball again. Donnelly can't prevent the cross. Petric had stayed up there. It's only just too high for him at the far post.
Yeah, Brian Largup looks like he's enjoying this game now. And no surprise after the part he played in the goal. Takes that really well. It's a difficult ball. But the goalkeeper did make up his mind. He's got the ability to do that. Well, and this is what it meant to Walter Smith.
You don't see him let his guard down like that too often, but he had plenty of reason to wear his heart on his sleeve then. It was a well-worked goal, but it was also a triumph for Rangers' tactics, having come out for the second half, a goal to the good.
And that just shows you that you can have as much possession in games as you like, and if you don't have a cutting edge and you don't make the most of it, then people can make you pay.
There might be more to come from Rangers yet. Laudrup, of course, concerned about being offside and not wanting to run where Laudrup wanted to play the ball. Van Hooijdonk. McNamara.
Now that's a bit straight. Well, there's not much difference in the attempts at goal. There's a vast difference in how many have been put on target.
Listen, the one Celtic managed certainly troubled Andy Gorham through the power in McStay's effort. But when Rangers scored from a rebound off the goalkeeper, Celtic couldn't reply in kind. The Rangers fans in very good humour and very good voice now. It's a long while before the semi-final started to shape up their way. The attendance not quite total capacity, that's just under 38,000 these days. I have to say the prices that the fans have paid, less than half charged for the English equivalent last weekend. Well, it's going to take something truly dramatic here for Celtic to avoid losing their grip on the Scottish Cup. Not impossible, but the signs haven't been totally encouraging. Robertson, the culprit this time.
And if something's going to happen for Celtic, it's going to happen very quickly. Somebody's got to produce something for them, something out of the ordinary, something unexpected. Or someone's going to have to make a mistake and Rangers defence to give them a chance. For 75 minutes, I think Tommy Burns will feel that Rangers have coped quite comfortably with what Celtic have had to offer as an attacking force. That's been the major difference in the sides. There's been the cutting edge of both sides. Walter Smith's side has had that cutting edge. Tommy Burns' side up till now hasn't.
Well, now Celtic badly need someone to get their head on this free kick. And maybe this corner. And Gorham, who came out to try and deal with the ball in from McNamara. Staying down.
He's not the biggest of goalkeepers, Andy Gorham, and when he comes into traffic, there is a chance that he's going to get thumped. He does run into Gordon Petric. That's where the clash comes.
Now, Rangers do have a substitute goalkeeper if required. Colin Scott, a loyal reserve here. Of course, they've signed the Dutchman Theo Snelders recently. He's not eligible today. Hasn't had too many opportunities, Colin Scott, but he's there if required. Chance for us to remind you about our Monday night football. And what a game, Blackburn against Newcastle. Alan Shearer, Newcastle born. He spoiled Newcastle's attempts to improve their recently indifferent away record at such a critical time in the championship race. McKinley takes the corner. McStay. McNamara. And Gorham, if he was shaken, will be pleased that that came close enough to really stop any Celtic player coming in with any hope of reaching it before the Rangers goalkeeper. Well, it's looking very much as though it's going to be Rangers against Hearts in this year's Tennent's Scottish Cup final. Of course, Hearts were the last side to beat Rangers at Ibrox as well back in January. And Celtic's 29-game unbeaten streak in domestic competition, looking as though it's going to be cracked here by the side that this season has just, when it's mattered, held the upper hand in the Old Firm clashes. It certainly mattered today, and Rangers closing in on the right result. Trevor Stephen looks as though he's going to play a part again. A comeback that will mean a great deal to him and his followers. McNamara. Good covering by Petric. They've needed a player to be in the right place defensively. There's been a reliability about Rangers at the back.
They work well, actually, Martin. The three centre-backs really, they know their jobs. They're very well organised.
Well, Gordon Durie has done a job for the side, as well as being involved in the second goal, and indeed, if you trace back the first one as well, there's some good control from him, and he's chased up and down against Tosh McKinley. But for the last 10 minutes, that job is passed to Trevor Stephen, who's been out since August, a cartilage operation. That took 4 months to recover from, and then a blood clot in a calf put the comeback on hold again. McStay. That's McLaren in the way. Grant. This is Donnelly. Now McNamara. but went unspotted. And Rangers break out here through Robertson. And perhaps in the end a certain amount of justice that Marshall was able to get it and the first wasn't able to have a chance. And Hoydon, Donnelly.
I think that's typical of what's went wrong for Celtic today. Just at the last minute, the final pass, the final ball has just let them down too often today.
And the messages coming from the Rangers bench, Davy Dodds and Archie Knox, trying to get his players perhaps to not sit back. Just the risk if Celtic get one, then the nerves really would be rattled, and there might be another one, and Van Hooydonk has got one! So Celtic not out of it yet.
Well, it's moments like that that change semi-finals. He's been virtually anonymous for most of this game, Pierre Van Hooydonk, but he's got a striker's instinct, and this is a much better cross-in. Probably the best ball that anyone's played in from Celtic today. And when it's in there, you want someone on the end of it. Van Hooydonk puts himself across Alan McLaren, and that's a super header past Andy Gorham. Just glides it in, no power, just glides it into the corner. And what an interesting end to the game we have now.
Well, the big man with a big scoring record who has not played a big part in the game to date has set up a big finish. Donnelly. Van Hooydonk. How will Rangers react? Suddenly it's gung-ho for Celtic. Boyd. Grant. They're within range again. The team in green and white. Boyd. Here's McStone. McKinley. Trevor Stephen, the substitute. McKinley trying to get round him. Can't do so.
Now, the one thing you know about Tommy Burns' Celtic side this season, they don't give up. They will keep going and going until Les Mortram says there's no time left.
And suddenly Celtic are getting to the ball so much quicker. Beginning to feel beaten. The heads were hanging. And Hooydonk's head suddenly intervened with a telling flick. Weghorst. And here's McNamara. Oh, well.
Well, if that's Pierre Van Hooydonk, it's 2-2.
But it was Simon Donnelly.
And it's 2-1. But a great ball from Hooydonk to McNamara. What a cross this is. Fizzes it across the box. And it's only his lack of inches, nothing else. And had this man been on the end of that cross, then I think we might be looking at a 2-2 scoreline.
We still might. Of course, an extraordinary finish here to yesterday's semi-final. 3 goals in the last 10 minutes between Hearts and Aberdeen.
Yeah, they left it late against Dundee United as well, Celtic, didn't they? 2 in the last minute.
Quite right. Van Hooydonk. Suddenly the ball's sticking when it's played up to him. McNamara. Laudrup. Stephen. He was caught by McKinley. But he got back to dispossess Donnelly and make up for the mistake, but Celtic had the throw. Weghorst. McKinley. Again, we talked about shortage of numbers in the centre. Van Hooydonk really had to go to the near post. There was no one able to make up the yardage to get in for the deeper cross from Tosh McKinley. We're into the last 5 minutes. Just to remind you again, should Celtic equalise, there is no extra time. Be straight to a replay a week on Wednesday. Tom. That's away by McLaren. Gascoigne couldn't keep it. McStay. And Hoydonk. Right on the edge of the area. And determined play by David Robertson. McStay. 4 minutes to go. Now McStay. McNamara. Big horse going in.
Yeah, it was a lovely tempting cross, I have to say, and Alex Cleland was the one under it. I thought V-Course would fancy his chances here. Beautifully floated cross. McNamara's now provided 3 great crosses in the last 5 or 6 minutes of this match.
Has it come too late for Celtic? Hughes. They want Marshall to get it forward quickly. He's waving players upfield, although Peter Grant dropped for a short collection played out of yards to his feet. Now he's got to try and join in midfield. It's been behind McLaren, and Donnelly will reach it for Celtic! Was that the moment?
Well, full marks to him for seeing the situation so quickly. And all he does wrong is he just puts a little bit too much weight on the ball. It's in behind now, McLaren, just lift it gently and your team are level. Just gets a bit too much weight on it. He gets it over Andy Gorham. Unfortunately for Simon Donnelly, he puts it over the bar as well. That's a real let-off.
Well, as a spectacle, the match has certainly improved as it's gone along to this climax in which Celtic are still trying to close the gap. That seems to be the story of their lives, closing the gap on Rangers. Andy, man of the match.
Well, it's not been a classic and there's not been many brilliant performances. One guy, I think, who from start to finish has really put everything in, worked his socks off and said, played well. And Tenet's man of the match is Stuart McCall.
Still captaining Rangers with Richard Gough, who had a chance of playing today. Now Peter Grant. He's moved away, and Les Mockton's had to go a long way to caution him. Whether that will try the referee's patience even further.
I think he wins the ball, and he certainly goes over Grant Laudrup, but he seemed to me to get a piece of the ball, Peter Grant.
It's not the first yellow card he's had in an Old Firm game, and I don't expect it will be the last.
No. He's competitive.
And he's Celtic to the core. Van Hooydonk. Grant. Weghorst. Van Hooydonk running to the right. Weghorst not able to settle quickly on the ball thanks to the attention of Stephen, but McNamara's cross, it hits Trevor Stephen, and Donnelly settles for the corner, although John Brown wasn't settling for it.
Well, it's all or nothing now. This needs a good delivery. Tosh McKinley's come all the way across with his left foot. The one thing he must do is put it in an area his teammates can attack. Give them a chance to score. That's the order of the day.
The 90 minutes are up. McStay. Played by Cleland against Tom, and it's a goal kick it's just a question now how long Les Mottram feels should be added on.
I suspect there might be certainly a minute or two.
Free kick to Celtic. Rangers trying to hold their line as Celtic throw so many players forward. Hughes, of course, is there. Van Hooijdonk, you'd expect. And the ball is too long.
And that's the one thing we didn't want. Just to harm this ball straight through to Andy Gorham.
And the referee tells Gorham to get on with it. McCoist. Donnelly. Van Hooijdonk. Recourse chasing. Whelan kept his eye on the ball. Nice touch from Trevor Stephen in the circumstances. Got it out of play, well away from the Rangers goal. Not that far away. Not as far away as it seemed and Stephen hoped. It's McKinley with the throw. 2 minutes of stoppage time play. It's just got to go in the box. McKinley. Hughes. Good tackling back from McCoist. Gascoigne rather brushed aside that time. McStay. Well, just for a second, it looked as though he might be able to stride on and end this semi-final sensationally and take us to a second game. It doesn't look as though it's going to go that way. Grant. Still maybe time for one more Celtic attack. Brown, great climb. Laudrup, who's good enough to keep the ball. Gascoigne likewise. Keep it he does. And then produces a pass towards McCall. Marshall wastes no time. And Rangers are in the final of the Scottish Cup. In the end, Brian Laudrup's second goal for Rangers was the decisive one. Ali McCoist, just before half-time, turned it Rangers' way. Laudrup's goal seemed to secure their passage into the final, but then came the late scare, Van Hooijdonk's header. And for all Celtic's development this season, they've not cracked their old rivals in 6 attempts. Rangers still have the double very much in their sights, and today's delight even greater. A semi-final success for Paul Gascoigne and his colleagues at the expense of the old enemy, and at the expense of the holders as well. They also believe, Rangers, with some justification, that in Walter Smith's time as manager, they've never lost to Celtic when it really matters. It certainly mattered here at Hampden this afternoon. And it's finished Rangers 2, Celtic 1.
So it's Rangers then through to the final, where they meet Hearts, of course. And those supporters will have a happy trip home. Not a long one, a happy one, not that young man. We'll be back with the thoughts of Kevin Drinkle and Charlie Nicholas next. Pictures starkly sum up what an afternoon it's been for Celtic and those supporters. A disaster for that young man, beaten, not just beaten, but by Rangers in the semi-finals. And they are absolutely delighted. McCoist and Brian Laudrup. Van Hooijdonk with a late goal for Celtic, which raised the spirits at the Celtic end, but it wasn't to be. The cup holders are out, and Rangers march on towards a double. Final score at Hampden Park, 2-1 to Rangers, who only had 6 attempts all afternoon, hit the target 4 times and scored with 2. 10 attempts from Celtic, on target just twice. Look at the corner count. And the bookings, 8 in the end. 4 apiece. 31 fouls. Possession 60% for Celtic, who got through once, and it wasn't enough. OK, we'll get the thoughts of Kevin Drinkle and Charlie Nicholas in a moment. First of all, let's go pitch side with Davy Provin. He's got Ali McCoist and Paul Gascoigne with him.
Well, with no disrespect to Hearts, who are now awaiting you in the final, do you feel you've just cleared the big hurdle there?
Not really. I've seen Hearts come back. I've seen Hearts play. They beat us 3-1 at home. They played very, very well. It's going to be a tough final, but I'm going to enjoy it.
How tough was it out there today? A lot of challenges flying in the first half.
Yeah, I think we seem to do that a lot. I mean, challenges were going on. Everyone was getting stuck in. The thing is, though, we get the goal, and the second one, then we seem to sit back, and then they attacked. But credit to the lads, we're hung on there.
Well, Ali got the first goal. Ali, how relieved were you because you had missed a good chance earlier on?
That's right. I should have hit the one earlier, as Paul told me after I missed it. But I was pleased to get another chance. Missing them doesn't bother me, David. You know, as long as I get one end or something. And I was pleased to get the one just before the end of the first half.
Is it going to cost Rangers more money now to keep you here next season?
I hope so. I'm going to need to see him for my new contract now, I think.
Well, how much has this team been motivated by suggestions that Celtic have been a better footballing side?
I don't think it's that. I think if you look at it, Celtic played well, good football. Rangers have normally rabbled. We've continued to play the good football and win matches. The only difference is Celtic have done that as well, and that's the only reason. And I put credit to Tommy, they're playing good football.
What would it mean to you to win a double in your first season in Scotland?
Not bad. It means everything, because I've had about 3 years out of soccer, and this is what it's all about, and this is what it's all about, getting fit back for, you know.
Ali, can you think of a better way of spending Easter Sunday?
Yes, tonight.
Enjoy, lads. Well done.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Paul.
Well, if you see him on the town tonight, steer clear. Ali McCoist intends to celebrate, that's plain. Kevin Drinkle and Charlie Nicholas are here with us. I don't think you felt the Rangers were full value for the lead at half-time, Kevin. What about at the end of 90 minutes?
Well, I think we have to look back and say, you know, they've done a job. I think when they come to the game today, Celtic's full-backs are the people that are going to hurt you. They've played Laudrup and Jury to stop that and hit them on the break. And apart from the last 10 minutes, maybe dominated that side of it.
And Celtic, Charlie, will look back on 60% of the possession, 10 opportunities at goal. Maybe didn't hit the target often enough, but from that, they've got to score more, haven't they?
Well, they have. I think they lacked a bit of imagination in the last 25, 30 yards out. Other than young Jackie McNamara, I felt he was the only one that hit any real quality into that area. It proved so for the goal, and once they scored the goal, they looked threatening after that. But up until then, I thought Rangers were kind of coasting to maybe the 1 or 2-0 lead.
We nearly had the finish we were looking for, but having got the goal, they couldn't find a way through again, could they?
No, they couldn't, but they did come close on a few occasions. This is Rangers' goal coming up. It's Robertson and Laudrup, typical link-up. And he just tries to pass this in the corner. Don't think we can blame the goalkeeper. Mr. Poacher's there again.
As we said at half-time, Kevin, that is a striker's goal. You've done it often enough for Rangers. McCoist done it more times than anybody else.
I think it's obviously that's his forte. We spoke about that at half-time, to be in the right spot, the right time. You can't buy that. He's great at it, and he'll be pleased with what he's done today.
There is obviously some discussion up here about his future. He's just made reference to it, the new contract. Be a brave club to let him go, wouldn't it?
I think it's just the extra few pounds, I think, will help him.
Keep him there. Laudrup made it 2-0 with Celtic pushing for an equaliser. They had to be careful. Inevitably, Rangers sprang.
Yeah, it's a good
and just
move.
3 balls later, the ball's in the net, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a good move. Laudrup just plays it wide to McCoist, and suddenly he's in. The keeper again, he's in no man's land.
Was he right, having come, he made his mind up rather for him,
well,
didn't he?
Possibly not looking back now, but at the time you've got to say, well, he's stuck in the middle. He doesn't really know if Laudrup's going to get the ball down in his left foot. You can see him here. He's just already glanced before. You just see him glancing up. He knows where McCoist is and goes, and he knows the pace is going to hurt John Hughes, and he just gets in right behind him. And I feel for Gordon Marshall, because he is. Laudrup's, it's a decent touch, and he's left totally isolated, and he's just lifted over him.
But Celtic kept plugging away patiently, and eventually they got their reward. But that made it a difficult job, Kevin, didn't it?
I think at that stage, we were just speaking before the goal, actually, and Celtic were dominating at that time. I think they'd been around the Rangers goal for something like 8 or 10 minutes, and that was typical of the way Rangers set out to play and hit them on the break.
Eventually, Van Hooijdonk scored for Celtic to make it 2-1.
This is possibly the best cross he's put in the whole game. The they're good at that. We spoke about that earlier about Laudrup and Jury stopping the service from the full-backs. He got it in there, it's a great ball in, and Hoydonk gets across his marker, and it's a lovely little header.
Guided into that corner.
The cross has made it. I mean, the pace on the cross. It's bending in towards the forward quite nicely. And he's begging for somebody to go and head that into the net. And Pierre Van Hooydonk's done just that and got him back in the game. And, you know, coming from McNamara was a lovely cross. It makes your mind up to go for that near post run. And
there were two more in that final spell, that final 10 minutes or so from McNamara. Donnelly was the player on the end of them. Andy said here that had it been Van Hooijdonk and not Donnelly, this was 2-2.
Yeah, I think we're just in a period.
Couldn't get up enough, could he?
We're in a period now where they've thrown caution to the wind and they need that extra goal, and the fullbacks have ventured forward more. Whether that's Laudrup getting tired, we don't know, but definitely the fullbacks got the service into the box, and as we say, somebody maybe 2 inches taller would have buried that one.
And what about this opportunity? This was virtually the last chance of the game, and what a finish this would have been for 2-2. But he sniffed the chance out here himself, Charlie, didn't he?
He did. He anticipated. He got in behind McLaren. But, I mean, I think Gorham's done tremendously well there. I mean, Donnelly's running in and goal, knowing that he's favourite to get the ball, but Gorham's threw himself the whole lot at him. And he's got to lift it over him. Unfortunately for Simon, lifted it too much. But, I mean, Gorham, I mean, you've got to give him praise there.
Well, let's find out if his manager does. Here is Walter Smith with Davy Probin.
Walter, at 2-0 up, you appear to have the game under control, but you finished the game once again on the ropes. What was going through your mind when Celtic scored?
Well, exactly the same as the league game the other week. We managed to get ourselves in front and sat back a little bit and allowed Celtic to come into the game, and I felt we did that again today. You know, we've got quite a few players that have been out for periods of time over the season with injury, and I don't think we're at full match fitness. But in saying that, you know, a wee bit of deja vu. I thought we were going to go back into that situation where we were going to let them back into the game again.
Nevertheless, you came through, and it's another crunch game against Celtic 1. What do you make of the character of this Rangers side you have?
Well, we've always said that. I mean, I've said over the period we have a terrific team spirit in the dressing room. I think that's seen us through in a lot of games. We've never maybe been able to play great football on a consistent basis, but we've managed to get results over the season, and you know, that I suppose is the main thing for us.
If you look ahead now to the run in the Championship, do you think now that there's no need for motivation, will you take a real high off of this going to Tynecastle on Wednesday?
Well, I said to players before the game today, if there was a need for motivation for this game and for the remaining games of the season, then I, as a manager, had a problem with a group of players. I think they see the winning post, and you know, they're in a situation just now where if they can't motivate themselves for that, then there's something far wrong. And I think they showed for the first hour of the game anyway today. I felt we created some really good chances to score, and you know, might have been more than the 2 up at that stage. But then again, in the latter stages of the game, Celtic come back at us, and you know, they might have got an equaliser near the end.
Will you be glad to see the back of them? Do you think 6 times is too much in the one season?
Well, 6 times is an awful lot, especially the importance that people place in the games. It's not good in the nerves. But we've managed to get away with the 6 without losing this season, so that's the first time I can remember that for a long while.
Ali McCoy says he wants to talk to you right now about a new contract.
Well, I think that'll probably be the case. I mean, can't get away from it. He's always there to score. And then again today, and you know, he might have managed to have another one. Actually missed one in the first half of the game, which is a wee bit unusual for him. But I'm sure that if he comes in on Monday morning, everything will be waiting for him.
Seriously though, will you keep him?
Oh yes, I mean, we'll try to do so. I mean, you see that people jump in all the time just now. I mean, he himself wants to stay in, and the club want to keep him, and that's the basic thing. And we've not really sat down and got to talking about a contract, and there's a lot of stuff appears that he's going to Japan or going to America or you know, wherever he's going. It's an important stage of his career, and when people ask me if we're going to sign him, I can't say yes, because he's got to agree to that as well. And nowadays the players have the freedom to leave the club if they wish, so therefore it's maybe me putting the cart before the horse by saying we're told to keep him, but I'm sure in the next few weeks we'll come to some kind of agreement.
OK, Walter, well done today.
Thanks, David.
It's a refreshingly honest answer as well. Charlie, just thinking about those distraught Celtic fans making their way home tonight. 6 times they've had a crack at it this season, and they haven't beaten Rangers. What was the missing ingredient, do you think?
I just thought the imagination. I was expecting a bit more from Andy Tom today. He kind of flickered in and out of the game in wide positions.
But in general, across those 6 games?
Well, in general, I don't think there's... Rangers have got a style of play that they adapt against Celtic, and they just sit in and defend. Celtic are the attacking, so more of an attacking side. But when it comes to the defensive setup, Celtic are vulnerable because Rangers will hit them on the break. Probably out of the 6 games, Celtic have probably been the best team in most of those games, probably 5 of those games. So it's particularly difficult for them to accept.
That makes it worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, it's really difficult. But as long as they keep their team keeps going at Rangers, they'll be just happy. I mean, they'll be disappointed tonight, but over the season they've been pretty happy.
Are they too far away in the title race?
No, I don't think they are. I think it could go all the way. They've got to dig in now and keep the results coming in the league, but they've got to give their fans a good run-in.
So that's Rangers into the final this afternoon. The other semi was played yesterday, of course, between Aberdeen and Hearts. The commentator is Rob McLean.
There's Poynton's corner. There's Dave McPherson's header! Cleared by Michael Watt! And it's there! John Robertson has scored! John Robertson doing what he's best at. When the scraps are around, he'll happily take them. Dave McPherson caused the problems from the corner kick with the downward header. Aberdeen couldn't get it clear. Now what can Aberdeen do with this free kick? In from Glass, up goes Rusey, up goes Duncan Shearer, and Shearer scored! Shearer rescues Aberdeen! Rusey halfway towards the halfway line. He didn't get there. John Robertson will keep this in. Neil Poynton's inside. Johnston's in the middle. There is Johnston's header! Alan Johnston has scored for Hearts. And this match takes another amazing twist.
That's Hearts into the final for the first time in 10 years. Rangers 7-2 on Hearts 5-2. Can you see beyond another Rangers win, Kevin?
Obviously, the way we're looking at the moment, but that's a big boost to Edinburgh. I think everybody talks about the Glasgow side of stuff, and they've made great progress this year, so they'll be happy to be there, and I'm sure